Welcome back and thanks for watching. I said last week that I'd do an orchard tour, so we're going to do that today because the sun is shining finally. We've had enormous amounts of rain like everybody around Australia, and yesterday we had a lot of flooding through the paddocks, and I'll pop it up at the end. But you saw the previous video, I planted my corn. Well, yesterday a lot of it flooded away. So I'll pop that up at the end and you can see all the water flowing through the corn patch. So we'll see what comes of that. But welcome to the orchard. Oh, and all the noise that comes with it. All right, so this cherry tree is a lapis cherry that I was given in Melbourne. So I planted that and that's growing beautifully. So that might not bear fruit for a few years, we'd be assuming, but it's looking really good. This lemon tree was not looking very good when we arrived. I've given it a lot of some hard pruning, and we're now getting some flowers, which is good. So going down this way, you can see here's our citrus trees, which is our kumquat. Lots of flowers on it. Oh dear, lots of action. Under here, you can probably hear all the bees. They're excited to be out. This is our orange tree, and there is enormous amounts of flowers on that. And beside it is the mandarin tree. So they've all had a bit of a good haircut and a good open up in the middle, and hopefully they will provide some fruit this year, because as I've said previously, they didn't have any fruit on them when they arrived, which I would have assumed they did. So along the back here are our three fig trees that were here. This one's starting to get some green leaves on them. I did a prune on this. I did a really hard prune on this one. I thought it was going to die, but there's some leaves coming up, but it may not come to much this year, and we'll see. We've got a few figs growing in pots that we could pop in there if nothing comes of that. Beside that's our little quince tree, and it's looking lovely. Most of the orchard now, there's only a few flowers left on the trees. I'm just trying to find you a quince. So here we go. Here's a quince, and here's a bigger one. Not sure exactly. I'm assuming autumn is when they come in, but I'm looking at lots of lovely quince recipes at the moment, so that's looking great, considering it has got all these bolls still on it. The trunk is not the most attractive thing, but lots of fruit on it. This tree here, still not 100% sure what it is, but being that it doesn't look like anything else, I think it's a plum tree. And you can see some little plums here. They're very small, and there's not a lot of them on it. So we'll see what that produces. These two trees coming back up the end are our cherry trees. This one doesn't have as many on it as the other one. I'll show you. You can see there them hanging, but this tree has got stacks on it, and this morning you can see stacks and stacks of cherries. But the exciting thing I saw this morning is, if you can spot under here, some colour. So we've got some cherries in here starting to pink up, quite a few of them actually, and this tree's got stacks on it, so that's exciting. And I know in Victoria, cherries are out around about November, December, so we'll see. This is a little peach tree that I brought up from Melbourne, and it's grown well, considering the chooks really got into that when I planted it. Again, not expecting some fruit on. Looks like they've been hacking this, so they jump up on it and have a wee nibble of it, but it has survived nicely. And this same as another cherry tree that we actually had in Melbourne, and we dug out, and it survived, and it's got some cherries on it too. We did get some cherries from this tree in Melbourne last year. Not a lot, but hopefully that will be fine. You can see how wet the orchard is. Puddles and puddles. So these two trees, I always thought this was an apricot, and I still think it is an apricot. And we're thinking that this is an apricot. The trunks are very different. but both of them do not have a lot of fruit on them. Actually, looking at that piece of fruit, that does not look like an apricot. Maybe that is a... I don't know. I'm not sure, because this tree here doesn't have a lot of fruit on it, but it has got that one. Is it an apricot? The leaves look like an apricot, but it only has a couple of pieces of fruit on it. But a lot of this tree I pruned back fairly hard, so this new growth, I'd be expecting that next year we might get a better harvest from that. So there's, yeah, fruit there, there's one there, but not a lot. Didn't have a lot of flowers on it. So this one's still got some flowers, but really not sure what it is actually. But down here, coming down the bottom again through the end, is our pear tree, and this is very exciting. Because if you come up close, you can see all the baby pears, and it is laden with pears, tiny ones. Not sure if you can see all up the top there. Will they all drop off, because you know, how many pears can it hold? Don't know. But that will be exciting to get those. This tree, I'll try and get out the sun. This is a nectarine tree. No, I'm assuming, because the fruit's not very, and it's got quite a bit of fruit on it, which is nice. But they look like nectarine leaves as well. At this stage, no leaf curl, which is good. But you can see, yeah, quite a bit of fruit on this tree. So cross fingers that stays. The tree beside it here, it's a peach, and as you can see, a few little peaches there, and you can see them all dotted around. It's got a couple of leaves with a bit of curl on it that we're just taking off at the moment, and hopefully that will suppress some of it, but we know we're going to get a bit of it. But yeah, oh, there's a bit of leaf curl there, which I'll pull off and bin. But a lovely looking peach. And this poor little peach tree, I think this may be its last year. I was just waiting to see what it produced, and it has got peaches on it, but really we could probably put something in there that's going to be a little bit more fruitful in time. It has got some little peaches on it, but they're not big and there's not a lot, so we'll see. So that's 1, 2, and this is a peach tree as well. When I arrived, this peach tree was huge, and I did a lot of pruning, but kept some of the new ones. But it shows me that this branch has got nothing on it, so I can prune that back at the end of fruiting. One good thing when everything is in fruit and leaf, you can see which branches are dead, and it probably needs a really good prune as well. There's a bit of fruit on it, not as much as the other tree, and it tends to be at this end here, but yeah, they're growing, they're getting quite big. This is all new growth, and it actually has a couple of little peaches on it too. So into the back, which is a lemon tree. So I've got 2 lemon trees in here. It's got no fruit on it, no flowers, I mean, as yet. Hopefully it will. And then finally down the back are our 3 apple trees. And this one's still in blossom, but also you can see the little fruits appearing there, which is nice. I know one of these trees is a Granny Smith. I don't actually know which one. So that's one, and this tree here is laden with blossoms, and it looks like it's got lots and lots of fruit are going to come from this tree. You can see them up there, but at the moment the apples look the same as the other tree. And then this one, which is a little bit smaller, but still was the first one to get fruit, so they're a little bit bigger. And I'm just hoping that after all this rain and the really wet feet that they've got at the moment, that they survive. But I'm sure it's not the first time they've been inundated with water. or the ones over there look really big. So yeah, generally from what I read, late summer, autumn is apple time. So we'll be enjoying some of that. I'll take you and have a look at the berry patch as well that's over there. So down to the berry patch, and you'll see that finally got all the beds in. No more digging in here, apart from we'll be fixing up this area. It's a bit messy at the moment. But someone did mention the other day that these beds look like a bit of a cemetery, but it's probably true. But eventually they will sink down a little bit and the mulch will come up. So what have we got? We've got our blackberries in the back there. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 blackberries and then a loganberry at the end. One bed of rhubarb there and a bed of rhubarb here, and they're starting to come away nicely. And then the rest are strawberries. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 beds of strawberries. And last weekend, my beautiful little grandson George had the first strawberry, which was out of this bed. So they're growing very nicely. But the rain we've had has washed off a lot of the mulch, so I'll have to come and sort that out, because as soon as the mulch is not there, the weeds grow. But that's part and parcel of it. But this one's looking lovely, lots of beautiful green leaves, and these are the strawberries that I brought up from Melbourne. Thank you, Lynn and Jerry, because they're actually strawberries from your patch and they're growing beautifully. So this is undercover is our little blueberries, and we popped this together on Monday because a couple of our blueberry bushes have got a lot of blueberries on them, and we have lovely birds here, and they're so lovely they like to come and take whatever they think they would like. We've had cockies pull some leaves off the fig tree. We've had them pull out broad beans, snow peas. So I'm just being cautious because I don't want to lose our first crop of blueberries. And I'm going to have to fix this up, but I'll show you one of the little blueberry bushes under here. It's got lots and lots of beautiful little blueberries on it. So this is a little bit of a makeshift. So what have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 blueberry bushes in here. And I'll have to make sure that goes down to the ground, because I think the birds probably will go in. And this is temporary because eventually, and that's not going to happen this year, time-wise we'll put a cover over this whole bed because the raspberries will need it as well. So this is the asparagus bed, they're still growing, and then in the back is the raspberries. So the summer raspberries along here, and then the autumn ones, and they're growing lovely. And we've got some little raspberries. I'll show you. Where is this one over here? Has got some little flowers on it. That looks like a bit of a funny one, but they're starting to grow. Whether they'll come to much for this season, being that they've just been planted, but this one here has got some flowers too, so we'll see. These two raspberries were canes I got given, and they're apparently yellow ones, so that'll be interesting to see how they go. So that's the berry patch. It's looking good. It didn't get flooded quite as much as the rest of the garden. I'll take you up there quickly and show you that. Under our house flooded, I guess the shining light of that is that we do want to do some renovations under the house, and that we haven't done it yet. And it's good to find out where all the kinks are so that we fix that before we do start it. I'll take you up and show you the other bed. That did get a lot of water in it. Quick update on the veggies. Yesterday when it rained, both these trenches were completely full of water. So they've drained now, and you can see we've sort of dug it out. But thankfully all the beds are raised, so hopefully their feet aren't too wet. You can see some of these potatoes are starting to yellow off, which means probably in about 3 weeks we could start to have those, because we planted first week of August, so most potatoes are somewhere between 90 and 120 days, so be able to do some of those. And planted some more carrots and beetroot here. The broccoli's just gone to seed, so I'm feeding those to the chickens. And we've got all these volunteer potatoes that think, oh well, first year, we'll just let it go, let it do its thing. Let's come down the back, and we've got snow peas down the back, and the broad beans, radishes. I pickled some of those last night, and the beetroot are going great. More snow peas, more broad beans. Down the back here is, can you hear my boots squelching? Climbing beans, so that they're growing beautifully. I actually planted those from seed and they're growing well. Got a couple of cucumbers in, let's hope they survive. And some more climbing beans in along here. The tomatoes, really happy with how they've gone, considering we have had some big rains. But this one here is nearly touching the netting, and so they all look really healthy, which is good. And in here is some zucchinis. Yellowed off a little bit. Hopefully they'll come back and survive, but they are growing, so that's a good thing. And then got some capsicums in here. A couple look a little bit yellow, so whether that was a bit early. This one's looking a little bit better. And I've got some more to plant there, which I was going to do today because they look like they need repotted. So we'll see how we go. So it's, considering we got enormous amounts of rain, it's all looking pretty good. How much rain did we get? This wheelbarrow was empty before the rain, and now it's full. There's how much rain we got. So last time I probably didn't have this bed done, and at the end of this bed is my little sweet potato patch. So currently I've got 3 sweet potatoes in there, and room for some more. So I put a bit more sand in there because they like sandy soil. So hopefully we'll get a harvest from those. So that's the garden bed. So I'll pop on the torrent of water that went through my corn patch. And I might just sit with it for a few days because we are predicted to get a little bit more this weekend. So I don't want to plant any more until... But as someone said yesterday, this is what we might be in for the rest of spring and summer. Lots of rain, which just means we need to sort out our drainage. Anyway, thanks for watching again, and I hope you're all safe and well.
This is what 24 hours of rain looks like. It's just constantly poured since yesterday afternoon. And it's just a river running through the whole place. And in the veggie garden, just running down like a river. I'll show you the top garden beds are full of water. The dam is overflowing across the levee as well as down the channel. Look at that. Oh, I just ran into a hole. But it should drain away fairly quickly once it stops raining, but it's just been constant.
Welcome to River Stony Creek. We have had 24 hours of torrential rain, and sadly my little corns that I planted 3 days ago are now in a river, an absolute river. Some of them have floated away. I'm not suspecting they will survive. The dam is overflowing. You can see Robert's just coming over the bank into here and flowing down. There's a river all the way to the creek. It's stopped raining at this present time, which is good, but very sad. So we'll start again once it dries out. It's amazing. just a river. Go up to the dam and see. Just overflowing. There's the dam. Dear oh dear. Eventually it will dry out.